What's something that really happened to you but no one believes when you tell the story? Maybe it was a perfect coincidence, a terrifying encounter, or just something surreal. Whatever it is, if it really happened and people still don't believe you, I want to hear it. My family owned a home that when I was 20 had my first child and lived on my own. I decided to stay there. I would hear walking, running up and down the hallways at night. One night while I was in the shower, I was hearing the walking back and forth in the hallway right outside. Usually when I would hear the noises, I would start yelling, trying to figure out which person in my home was outside walking. I kept hearing this over and over. I decided I wanted to be brave and check to see what it could be. Got out of the shower, put a towel on, opened the door, looked out down the hall and seen a hand gripping the wall. I was terrified. Like I said, I knew no one was in my home. My first thought was someone had broken in, but knowing that it was not possible because I have numerous dogs that would have went crazy if someone came in my home, I did not have a clue what it could have been. Assuming that I must have been seeing things, I just ignored this, went and got dressed and came out. After getting dressed and moving to the living room, I was looking down the hall from the living room, and I could see a face peeking out of my bedroom. I ran out of the house as fast as I could. I moved not long after that and have not been back. The scary thing about this story is the face that I saw, I knew. It was my grandmother that had passed 10 years earlier inside the home. When I was younger, she would play peekaboo with my siblings and myself by grabbing the end of the wall and hiding her face and jumping out. This is what was happening when I looked inside my room. She was still trying to play games with me. My child would tell me he was playing with the lady. Literally don't talk to my grandmother anymore because she doesn't believe me and thinks I'm insane. The rest of my family does believe, by the way, but this is my story. My first experience with him was when I was a kid. I would have been very young, probably about 3 years old, but I remember it so vividly because it was one of my core memories as a kid. I got out of my bed to go get a drink, and my bedroom was at the end of the hallway with my parents' room next to my room. As I walk past my parents' room, I can see them asleep in their bed, and my younger brother, who was a baby at that time, in his cot, and standing over my parents' bed was a large shadow man with horns. He was staring right at me and smiling. After that, I got a drink and then went back to bed. It terrified me, but I was a kid, so I probably didn't understand what I was looking at. The second experience came when I was about 12. It started out of nowhere. I was sharing a room with my younger brother, and it was a small room. Our beds were parallel with each other and pushed into the corners of the room with about 1.5 meters in between, and at the foot of my bed was the door, and at the foot of my brother's bed was the cupboard. I was woken up in the middle of the night to see, standing at the foot of my brother's bed, a very tall shadow man who would stare at me and slowly move close to me, and then dart back into the corner. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could feel the stare. Now this happened for months, usually like this, but sometimes he would shake it up. I vividly remember one night where he took shoes out of our shoe basket and made them float around the room and then just left them on the floor, so I picked them all up the next day. I didn't stop until I changed rooms. I know it wasn't sleep paralysis because I had to get up multiple times and run past him to go to the bathroom. I would pretend I was still asleep, but he wasn't having any of it. It was pretty terrifying to roll over and see a massive black mass standing over you, then darting back to the corner. The last time I saw him wasn't in person, but it was the only vision I've ever had. It's like he got in my head. I was about 16, and I was sitting on my bed. Note, all of these occurred in different locations, and all of a sudden my vision went and all I saw was him standing outside while I was standing inside. The sky was blood red and there was grass, but nothing else. The only thing separating us was a glass sliding door which slowly started sliding open, and I snapped back to reality. I was definitely shook, but that was the last time I saw him. So obviously I have a lot of questions, but I honestly don't ever expect a solid answer. What is he, a demon? What is his intent? Why didn't he have horns on the latter occasions? Why does it appear as though he only appears physically when my brother is present? Was he ever told to clean up after himself? Why does he appear at those times? Why have I only seen him? So again, I don't know what he is. I also am super skeptical, but I know this thing actually exists. My siblings and I are very close in age, and because of this, we all share a lot of the same memories. My cousins also live 5 minutes away on the other side of town, so they were at my house a lot. My mom has always loved and collected vintage artwork, and the painting in the kitchen was no exception. It was placed above the kitchen table so you couldn't miss it. It was very large, with a vintage wooden frame. It was seen of a stream flowing down the center, with 2 lush rows of grass and trees on either side of it. In the right-hand corner of the painting, there is a man standing there who looks kinda lost. He is wearing tattered clothing. His shirt is dark blue with buttons and his pants are khaki. He has a straw hat and is carrying a straw basket. You can't see his face. My siblings, cousins, and I all vividly remember this man. We spoke about him all the time, making up stories of where he was going or what he was doing or what he was looking for. Pretty normal for young kids to assign him a story. The painting stayed above the kitchen table for at least a decade or so. When we were all little, we paid much more attention to the painting. However, as we all entered our tween and teenage years, we stopped discussing it, looking at it really. After us kids stopped studying the painting, it's almost as if the man ran away because one day he was not in the painting anymore. We were all so confused. Completely bewildered and freaked out, we all asked my mom where he went. "What man are you talking about?" She said, "The man in the painting." "With the little basket and hat," we all yelled. She repeatedly told us that no man ever existed in the painting, and that out of the hundreds of paintings in the house, not a single one has ever had a man with a straw basket in it. In fact, none of them had men in it, period, as my mother preferred paintings of scenery and landscapes. Frantic, I went to the box where all our old baby photos are stored. I was rummaging through the box quickly when I came upon a picture with my siblings and me in it. Now, one might think that the possible explanation is that all us kids created an imaginary man with a story and just thought it was cute and silly to picture a little man on a journey. But it wasn't that. To this day, we can all recount exactly what the man looks like. We can remember the stories we made up about where he was going, but know for a fact we didn't make the man up. To this day, my mom claims there was never a man in the painting. Even my aunt and grandma, who were at the house nearly daily, said, "There has never been a man in that painting." I know young children are more in tune with the paranormal, so perhaps the man was a ghost who had visited the stream, or was the artist himself showing up in the painting. Who knows? Eventually, it was moved out of the kitchen and replaced with a newer painting. The mysterious piece of art is now hung in a stairwell in our home. To this day, no man has reappeared on the painting, and we have never been able to explain where he went and why only us kids remember him.